Looking at those current conditions at this time on this Thursday evening, 3 degrees, cloudy skies, those winds out of the west at 7 miles per hour, humidity at 60%. But looking at those temperatures all throughout the Upper Peninsula, especially towards the west, we're already dealing with a couple of negatives, especially in Ironwood at -2, 5 in Ontonagon, 2 in Crystal Falls and Florence, 11 in Houghton. Going towards the east, slightly warmer, 6 in Munising, 14 in St. Ignace. Looking at those winds, they are mostly blowing out of the northwest or out of the west between 10 to 15 miles per hour for a decent majority of the central and western UP, 13 out of the northwest in Houghton, 16 in Iron Mountain, a little bit lighter in Marquette at 7. Looking at those headlines now as we go now towards the end of the first week of 2017 and also the first weekend of the year, we are going to continue with that cold weather all the way until Sunday. We really won't begin to see that warm up until early next week. And when it comes to those snow chances, they will begin to back down a little bit going into your Friday before we increase them once again for your Saturday with a quick moving disturbance pushing through the region. But looking at those wind chills, when you combine those temperatures and those winds, what it actually feels like outside, as we look throughout the Wolverine state, especially into lower Michigan, mostly hovering around 0, even though it's mostly on the negative side of 0, -4 in Mount Pleasant, -3 in Grand Rapids. Especially towards northwest lower Michigan, it feels a little more brutal, -12 in Manistee, -9 in Houghton Lake. But looking towards parts of the UP, especially towards the central and western UP, brutal, -23 at what it feels like right now in Ironwood, -18 in Marquette, -13 in Iron Mountain. So do make sure to cover yourself in as many layers as possible. Also looking at those snow totals from yesterday when it comes to that lake effect snow, Painesdale at 6.4 inches, Hancock at half a foot of snow, Mass City at 4.7, and Ontonagon just over a quarter of a foot of snow at 3.2. Looking at those watches, advisories, and warnings throughout the UP, we are still dealing with some lake effect snow advisories for parts of the western UP, especially over the Keweenaw Peninsula. These are in effect until Saturday evening. The white are actually the lake effect snow warnings. These begin to expire in parts of the eastern UP by tomorrow night. Accumulations overall on both the advisories and the warnings could reach up to a foot before it's all said and done. So do watch out also for those winds reducing that visibility. But the setup for your Thursday is we're still dealing with that hit and miss snow showers with the lake effect throughout a good portion of Michigan. Concentrated batch of more snow to parts of the Ohio Valley, and that cold air really making its way all the way down into parts of the plains with high pressure situated in parts of Wyoming. Going into your Friday, that snow begins to relax a bit more, but we're still under that cold pocket of air, and it's not really going to begin to light up when it comes to those temperatures until sometime on Monday. But looking at that satellite radar, good amount of snow, especially throughout the Ohio Valley at this time, going to parts of the Mid-Atlantic. So if you're driving on Interstate 70, Interstate 64, do give yourself extra caution. Overall, just that lake effect just really a little bit weaker than it was yesterday, that's for sure, for a good portion of the UP, but still watch out for those winds blowing that snow around. Going into that FUTURECAST, going into the next couple of days, we'll have a good amount of sunshine trying to make its way through parts of the southern UP. Along the shoreline, a good increase in those clouds, especially with that moisture off the lake. But conditions will overall be on the decent side going into the weekend. -4 for tonight, mostly cloudy and frigid with those winds out of the west at 15 miles per hour. So we'll have those wind chills heading towards -20. That westerly wind will continue going into your Friday. Wind chills in the daytime will be hovering between -5 and -15. So it will be a cold one with those temperatures hovering in those single digits throughout parts of the western UP, more into those low teens towards the central UP. Until the next 7 days, you can see that we really begin to increase those snow chances going into next week. Unfortunately, when it comes to that snow, the temperatures will rise with it. So if you want the warmth, you got to take the snow with it. But overall, temperatures going to next week are going to be a little bit warmer than they are this week.